"This is weird," Toby said, reaching out to tilt of damp moss and awakening earth. Mr. Henderson, the school's outdoor education teacher, clapped his calloused hands together, the sound echoing against the side of the yellow school bus. "Listen up, everyone. The annual scavenger hunt is a tradition of grit and observation. You have your maps, your compasses, and your wits. The first team to find the hidden marker by the old limestone creek. The opening was wreathed in a thick, unnatural fog that flowed outward like a slow-moving river of milk. The scavenger hunt marker is definitely not in there," Sarah said, her voice trembling slightly. "But I want to know what made these." "Bam, touch it," Leo warned, but it was too late. Toby the threshold. The fog seemed to seal itself behind them, turning the entrance into a wall of impenetrable white. Leo clicked on his heavy-duty flashlight, the beam cutting through the gloom to reveal walls of smooth, pale stone. The porcelain shards continued, leading them deeper into a wide gallery where the ceiling rose into a cathedral of stalactites. Tearing. Paid. It was the sound of something massive moving with mechanical intent. Diamond Dad crammed themselves in a chamber that defied logic. The floor was a mosaic of polished brass and copper, and in the center stood a pedestal made of Sandefuria's Emissina 10. In the action to the curious of their marionette, its head was that of a hare, long ears crafted from beaten gold, and eyes that glowed with a steady haunting amber light, and even nose into the carriole of Suave. The gilded hare did not speak. It did not growl or threaten. It simply stood there, its golden ears twitching with a metallic ping every few seconds. Its chest plate was translucent, revealing a chaotic heart of spinning cogs and glowing filaments that pulsed in time with the thumping sound they had heard earlier. Leo felt a cold sweat break out on his forehead. I am the start of eternity, the end of time and space, the beginning of every end. And the end place, what am I? They ended the first test, but the air that wafted up from the stairs was colder still, smelling of ancient metal and forgotten things. The stair to descend forever. There were no handrails, and the walls were so close that Leo the rough, damp rock brushing against his shoulders. "Keep your hands on the wall," he instructed, his heart hammering against his ribs. "And do not look down." They reached the bottom and found themselves in a corridor filled with mirrors. These were not ordinary mirrors. They were tall, silvered surfaces that distorted their reflections in unsettling ways. In one, Sarah looked like an old wig that end very shattered simultaneously, showering the silver shards that vanished before they hit the ground. The hare stood still, its golden ears swiveling to track a sound they could not hear. It seemed to be listening to the mountain itself. "We have to move faster," Leo said, grabbing Toby's arm. "The stair is at 11s and dirty oceans at Bathview. It's just so you understand to the plants the curious pace time forever." There were no handrails, and the walls were so close that Leo could feel the rough, damp rock brushing against his shoulders. "Keep your hands on the wall," he instructed, his heart hammering against his ribs. "It was the trap," Sarah warned. "Look at the walls. Small apertures were opening in the limestone, and the faint hiss of steam began to fill the room." The hare gestured toward the box, its amber eyes pulsing with an urgent light. It hot perfectly with the rotation of the machinery. "I hate heights," Toby whimpered, staring down into the abyss. A platform was rising from the darkness, a small wooden box. "Is that the prize?" Toby asked, his eyes wide. "It is a trap," Sarah warned. "Look at the walls." Small apertures were opening in the limestone, and the faint hiss of steam began to fill the room. The hare gestured toward the box, its amber eyes pulsing with an urgent light. It wanted them to take it. Leo lunged forward, snatching the box just a gear beneath him tilted toward the abyss. He scrambled back to the safety of the ledge, the box tucked under his arm, its mind furry creasing the face. The box was made of dark mahogany painter. The ground was shaking too violently. They were now in a room filled with water, though it did not behave like any liquid they knew. It flowed upward along the walls in shimmering curtains, defying gravity. In the center room was a pool of liquid mercury, perfectly still and reflective. The gilded hare is gone, Sarah noticed, looking around the shimmering chamber. The sentinel had vanished into the shadows of the previous room. In its place, a ancient engineering. The pool erupted in a fountain of silver light. The liquid rose up, swirling into a vortex that consumed the entire room. The children shielded their eyes as the world became a blur of motion and sound. When the light finally faded, they were no longer in the water room. They were standing in a vast subterranean library, where the books were made of thin sheets of copper and the shelves reached up into the darkness. The gilded Hare was there, hilting towards of the Cleed. The Hare tapped its chest. The clockwork heart they had was back inside the construct, beating with a steady, healthy glow. The Hare had not been testing their greed. It had been testing their mercy. It needed its heart to continue its watch, and they had given it back freely. They were both silent, their eyes wide with the shared secret of the gilded Hare. Leo reached into his pocket and felt a small, hard object. He pulled it out, expecting to find a stone or a piece of porcelain. Instead, it was a small golden geared. The Tyndall de tried alone, bare paper presidums, waste to the creed the dam, creased into this. Purry My God, you are safe. The scavenger hunt is over, obvious. Let's get you back to the bus. You can tell